Here we are, September 11th, 2014. And when you think about September 11th, 2001, 13 years ago, it seems like it was 13 hours ago. There are just certain memories that always stay with you. And because they stay with you, it feels like they happened yesterday. They happened 13 years ago. I have 4 children. I have an 11-year-old son. He has no idea what people were thinking at that time. And that actually, in a way, kind of saddens me, as dumb as that sounds. Because all he sees is the scrubbed stuff that's on the internet. The stuff that Dad can actually find that's out there. Because most of the stuff you'll see is 9/11 truth or tinfoil hat stuff that's out there. The actual raw footage, the stuff that you saw unfold, well, that's been scrubbed for sensitive eyes. We can't let you see that again. Oh, no, I think you do need to see that again. But I remember actually being unemployed at the time. I lost my job a couple of weeks prior. And my girlfriend, who's now my wife, Lisa, was getting ready for work. And I remember sleeping like a bum. And she comes into the room. She's like, hey, you may want to check this out. A plane just hit the World Trade Center. I kind of popped out of my bed and went, what? Hold on, what? Oh, hold on, I'm sleeping. Oh, what? What did you say? Yeah, a plane hit the World Trade Center. Holy crap. I get out of bed, rubbing my eyes, and I'm stumbling in the living room, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, what kind of pilot doesn't see the World Trade Center in the way? Hello? I mean, either that or maybe somebody had a heart attack at the cockpit of the plane, and just what a terrible tragedy that would be. What a terrible accident. Never did I think what happened is what happened that day. No one would have thought that. And I remember being in my living room, seeing the building on fire, smoke billowing out in the middle of it. And then I remember seeing the second building get hit with another plane. Live as it happened, right there. What the hell? And then you start to think, well, wait a minute, hold on. Once is an accident. Twice. What's going on here? My mouth just agape. I never thought that the living room that I was sitting in now at 8 in the morning would be the same place I would be 12 hours later. You too, right? I remember just sitting there and going through all the emotions of who did this? Why? And then you see a building collapse. You know that firefighters and police, courtesy of the news, are on the scene. They're in that building. How many thousands and thousands of people work in the Trade Center? How many people just died? And then the other one goes down. And you have this just sick feeling in the pit of your stomach that I couldn't get rid of. And you go through all the emotions. You go from just being absolutely shocked to being absolutely pissed off. I was mad at the world that day. Who did this? Who? Because then you heard of the plane hitting the Pentagon. And then you heard about the plane that landed in the middle of a field, and you know that wasn't by design. We are being attacked, and by who? I want to know. And I remember having a job interview scheduled for the following day, September 12th, 10 a.m. in the morning, on Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago, a block away from the Sears Tower, and I'm sitting there going, holy crap, what is going on here? I remember my girlfriend going, oh my God, please don't go. I know you need a job, but don't go, please. I'm so scared. So was I. I remember calling the guy I know who was going to interview me the next day on the 11th, that night, going, we still on for tomorrow? Yeah, we're still on. Okay, click. And as I hung up the phone, I looked at the television and I saw our elected officials, men, women, Republicans, Democrats, gathered on Capitol Hill, singing God Bless America. And I took a step back and I went, whoa. These people typically hate each other, but here they are, linked arm in arm, together, same side. And out of such tragedy that day, something beautiful was born. And that was a sense of togetherness. It was a classic case of, I can beat up and make fun of my little brother, but you can't. It was no longer rich versus poor, black versus white, man versus woman. We were all Americans. And I was exhausted at the end of that day, and yet I didn't leave my living room. Because after all the emotions happen, you put your head on the pillow and you just hope please say this was a nightmare. This didn't happen, did it? Did this happen? And then I woke up on 9/12 for my job interview. Got in my car. Then drove from Milwaukee to Chicago, about a 90-minute drive. And I remember driving in absolute silence. I remember thinking to myself, today's different. Because today, me and many other Americans, we're all FDNY, we're all NYPD. We all were the same. For just that one day, even. Right after my job interview, I remember going to a little local cafe a couple buildings over because I wanted to pick up a newspaper. I still have that newspaper to this day. It's the Chicago Sun-Times. And the outside cover headline, Tragedy in New York. It's a picture of the World Trade Center on fire and a zoomed in look at somebody free falling outside of the building to their certain death. Yet everyone was still alive. Everyone, complete strangers in the middle of downtown Chicago, were shaking hands, consoling one another, talking about it, getting it out there. For just that day, just that moment, we were truly one nation, under God, indivisible. We told ourselves at that time, we will never forget. But here we are 13 years later. And we've forgotten. because here we are having fights about race, having fights about healthcare, having fights about you name it, we're arguing about it. So as we reflect 13 years later on September 11th, let's honor those who lost their lives in such tragedy by simply being better people, better Americans, and love one another. That is how we will always ensure that we will never forget.